I know 4 years have passed. It must seem like no time at all. And, I mean, you're still coming to terms with this loss. And I suppose something like the event at the weekend must just bring it all back to you.
It does. And actually, it was a particularly difficult... It should have been Dan's 21st birthday on Sunday. And so it was a particularly difficult day for us. And then to see that. And every time you see another ecstasy death, particularly, but any young person losing their life to drugs, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And you know, we've got a fairly good idea about what their parents will be going through at that time. It's just
you know,
awful.
when it happens, when it hasn't happened to you, you can only imagine it.
Yes.
You've obviously lived
But
it,
you know,
you'll
Fiona,
know.
and all the things that you did with Daniel would be what we would do as parents to a 16-year-old. He was 16 then.
Yeah.
And, you know, anybody who cares and loves and they say, now, you be careful and don't you be doing anything. And he said these awful words, you know, turned out to be awful. Don't worry, Mum. What did he say? I won't die.
I love you, Mum. I promise I won't die.
Yeah.
Which is just a silly joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you believe that was his first time taking drugs?
It turned out it wasn't. We had thought it was. It was his third time. The first time, a friend gave him a bit as a kind of little bit of a sample, I guess. And the second time, he hadn't had a good experience. He hadn't then particularly wanted to go to this rave. He'd kind of held back on taking this stuff. He'd been watching, there were 5 of them, took this MDMA, which is the chemical in ecstasy, and they were sipping it all the way to this rave across London. And Dan was holding back his back and watching them, and kind of clearly a bit kind of hesitant, reluctant, but they were fine.
And he was with his friends. I mean, you know,
they were friends of friends, really. It was kind of he'd got a couple of friends there, but it was a bigger group.
Yeah. But Fiona, this is where Henry is fascinating, and he comes in. And I don't know whether you agree or disagree with what Henry does, but Henry is a drugs expert. He is a doctor, and he turns up at a lot of these festivals and he carries out tests. Now, explain to us. So you arrive at a festival, you have a drug, and you come along to someone like you, and you do a test. Tell us the procedure.
So I work for part of an organisation called The Loop, which is a non-profit volunteer organisation. We go to festivals and we provide a service called drug safety testing. And what happens is festival goers who have drugs in their possession can come to our tent and hand over a small sample of what they have in their possession. That then gets passed to our field lab, which is staffed by a team of trained chemists, where we analyse it for its identity, its strength, and to find out if there are any impurities in it. And then those results are fed back to the service user by a team of trained health professionals as part of a kind of 15-minute counselling session where we tell people not just the identity of what they have, but also the risks associated with it, how to reduce those risks, and other kind of practical...
Do you give them that drug back? So, I mean, it all makes logical sense. When I hear that, you say, well, you know, if you're going to take something, let's have a look what it is.
But are you giving a green light?
But do you then, is it a green light to say, yeah, actually, that one's fine, off you go?
So we don't give anything back once it's given to us. So anything that's given to us, we then pass on to the police for disposal.
So why would a teenager or young person come to you if they know you're going to take it, even if it's fine?
Well, they might hand over a small sample of what they have, which we then test, but they might have more in their pocket, for example.
Oh, right.
And telling them what it is, it gives them... We offer every single person an opportunity to hand over the rest of their drugs. Yeah. And in fact, at the last festival we tested at this weekend, 13% of people who used our service did actually hand over the rest of their drugs.
People talk about these drugs have... You know, kids don't know what's in them. I mean,
what is in them?
You know, is it bleach? Is it fertiliser? I mean, what is it?
I mean, it can be anything. Anything from things that are as benign as, you know, sugar and salt, through to really quite unpleasant...
anything to
more
bulk it up
unpleasant
for more
drugs
profit,
than the drugs that they're
basically
intending on taking.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
Right. Fiona, you've had to live through this. What do you think of this service being offered by Henry's company?
I have to say, I think it's fantastic because it's the only way that you can know what's in illegal drugs. And by the time a young person comes to the Loop service, it's like the last line of defence. We started a charity when Dan died, which is a drug and alcohol education charity in the Daniel Spargo Mabbs Foundation, because it's just so important that young people can make informed choices and confident choices, but they can't make informed choices. The bottom line is you can't know what's in an illegal drug without having
what
it
about
tested.
parents, Fiona, being informed as well? Do we need to get ourselves informed?
Absolutely, absolutely. And although, as you said, I did so many things, we'd even done a 6-week course, Tim, my husband and I, about how to drug-proof your kids. And then they did say, actually, you can't do this. And we had conversations specifically about ecstasy. But I didn't know then what I know now. And I had got no idea how close it was to our door. And I think for parents, don't make any assumptions that it's something that's for other kids, kids like that, kids that are out there. And don't also know that it is something that's quite normal and it's not stigmatised in the way that we'd like to think it was. And it's there
easily
for
accessible.
them. Very easily accessible, especially increasingly through social media. So it is really important that parents know as much as they can.